Have you ever wondered, what if everything you're chasing in life, success, perfection, admiration, is actually blinding you from what truly matters? What if the real wisdom you need is hiding inside the moments you hate the most? Failure, doubt, rejection. And here's the scary part. You might be missing life's most important lessons, not because you're not smart, but because you're moving too fast to notice them. Ask yourself, when was the last time you stopped, not to react, but to truly understand? And if these questions resonate with you and you want to explore answers and new perspectives together, don't forget to subscribe to our Think and Rebound channel. That way, you won't miss out on valuable content like this in future episodes.
Indeed. It's a powerful question, isn't it? And one that we rarely take the time to truly ponder. We're often so caught up in the doing, the achieving, the reacting, that we neglect the reflecting. But what if that reflection, that pause, that willingness to learn from every experience is the most crucial skill we can develop?
Absolutely. And today, we want to explore this idea through the lens of real experiences, not grand, unattainable feats, but the everyday struggles that shape us if we let them. We're going to share a story, a journey of someone who, like many of us, faced significant hurdles, but chose to see them not as dead ends, but as pathways to profound personal growth. And to illustrate this more clearly, today we're going to tell the story of a hypothetical person for whom we'll use a pseudonym for privacy.
Let's talk about Ilara. Ilara had a deeply ingrained dream of creating things that would stand the test of time, structures that not only served a purpose, but also inspired those who interacted with them. She poured her energy into this vision, meticulously planning every detail and striving for an ideal that was just out of reach. For years, she worked tirelessly, driven by this aspiration.
But beneath that determined exterior, Ilara carried a quiet anxiety. She was a perfectionist, constantly striving for something unreachable. Every project felt like a high-stakes gamble. The pressure she put on herself was immense, leading to sleepless nights and a pervasive sense of inadequacy, despite her achievements. Have you ever felt this way? Like, we give everything, but it's still not enough? No matter what we do, we're still afraid it's not good enough, or that there's a hidden flaw inside.
And then came the pivotal moment. Ilara was spearheading a major project, her life's ambition coming to fruition. Months of intense work, countless late nights, and the weight of immense responsibility were finally coming to a head. Just days before the final presentation, a critical flaw was discovered in one of the key designs. Not her fault, but a miscalculation from a junior team member that had slipped through multiple checks. The entire project, her dream, was at risk. The news hit her like a physical blow. Her immediate reaction was a familiar spiral of self-blame, despite knowing it wasn't directly her error. The perfectionist in her screamed, "Failure!"
Can you imagine that feeling? That gut-wrenching moment when something you've invested so much into, something so crucial, suddenly teeters on the brink of collapse? If it were me, I think I'd be paralyzed by panic, overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the problem. We've all been there, right? Faced with a problem that feels insurmountable, a setback that seems to derail everything we've worked for.
Absolutely. And that's precisely what Ilara almost did. For a full day, she retreated, overwhelmed by the perceived catastrophe. She felt the familiar grip of her anxiety tightening, the urge to simply walk away from the immense pressure. But then something shifted. It wasn't a sudden epiphany, but a slow, deliberate decision. Instead of succumbing to the panic, she chose to confront it. She asked herself, What is the actual problem here? Not the emotional turmoil, but the tangible issue.
This is where her journey truly began to align with the Stoic vision. Instead of focusing on what went wrong or who was to blame, Alara shifted her focus to what was within her control. She realized that while she couldn't magically undo the flaw, she could dedicate herself to finding a solution. She spent the next 48 hours not in despair, but in intense, focused problem solving. She chose not to dwell on guilt or blame others. She simply took action on what she could do to improve the situation.
And the result? She not only identified a revised solution, but also developed an innovative technique that actually improved the original design. When she presented to the city council, she didn't try to hide the initial flaw. Instead, she openly acknowledged it, explained how it was discovered, and then confidently presented her refined, stronger solution. Her transparency, her resilience, and her ability to not only fix the problem, but to enhance the project deeply impressed the council. The project was approved, and Alara emerged not just as someone competent, but as a leader with unparalleled integrity and problem-solving prowess.
That experience was a profound turning point for Alara. She learned that perfection isn't the absence of flaws, but the ability to adapt, to learn, and to grow when faced with them. This wasn't about suppressing her emotions, but about choosing how she responded to them. She started to embrace the messiness of life, realizing that true strength wasn't about avoiding mistakes, but about how gracefully and effectively you navigate them. This shift in mindset transformed not just her aspirations, but her entire outlook on life. She became calmer, more confident, and ironically, less anxious because she no longer feared imperfections.
It's a powerful testament to the idea that our biggest breakthroughs often come from our deepest challenges. And Alara's story isn't unique. Think about someone like Mark, who was determined to build his own business to be well known and create a positive impact on the community. His meticulously planned inventory system crashed just before his busiest sales season. Panic would be the natural reaction, right? But Mark, instead of just trying to salvage the old system, used it as an opportunity to completely overhaul his inventory management. He invested in a new, more robust cloud-based system and trained his entire staff on it. The initial disruption was immense, but the long-term benefit was a streamlined, more efficient operation that far surpassed his previous one. He turned a disaster into an upgrade.
Or Sophia, who had a dream of telling stories through words to inspire others, but faced rejection after rejection from publishers. Each no felt like a personal insult, chipping away at her confidence. It would have been so easy to give up, to internalize those rejections as proof she wasn't good enough. But Sophia, instead of letting it defeat her, used each rejection as feedback. She analyzed what wasn't working, refined her craft, and relentlessly studied successful authors. She joined writing groups, sought out mentors, and eventually independently published her first novel, which went on to become a bestseller. Her persistence, fueled by a commitment to learning from every setback, ultimately led her to success on her own terms.
These stories, Ilara's, Mark's, Sophia's, they all underscore a fundamental truth. Life's real lessons aren't found in comfort or effortless success. They're forged in the crucible of adversity. It's in those moments of struggle, when we're pushed to our limits, that we have the profound opportunity to truly understand ourselves, to adapt, and to grow in ways we never thought possible.
Exactly. It's about cultivating a stoic vision, not being emotionless, but being in control of your reactions. It's about recognizing that you can't control external events, but you absolutely can control your perception of them and your response to them. It's about seeing every obstacle as a training ground, every challenge as a chance to develop resilience, and every moment of discomfort as an invitation to learn.
So what can we take away from this? How can we start applying this in our own lives right now? It boils down to a few key shifts in mindset and action.
First, embrace discomfort. Stop running from difficult situations or emotions. When you feel that surge of anxiety, that frustration, that urge to avoid, pause. Acknowledge the feeling, but then ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Just like Alara faced her architectural flaw head-on, or Mark tackled his system crash, confronting the uncomfortable is where true growth begins.
Second, reframe failure as feedback. There's no such thing as failure, only results. If something doesn't go your way, instead of dwelling on disappointment, analyze it. What worked? What didn't? What could you do differently next time? Sophia didn't let rejections define her. She used them to refine her craft.
Third, focus on what you can control. This is perhaps the most fundamental Stoic principle. You can't control the weather, the economy, or other people's actions, but you can control your effort, your attitude, your preparation, and your response. Direct your energy where it actually makes a difference. Ilara focused on finding a solution, not on blaming a junior team member.
And finally, cultivate resilience through practice. Just like building a muscle, resilience isn't something you're born with. It's developed through repeated effort. Each time you face a challenge and choose to learn and adapt, you strengthen your capacity to handle the next one. It's about building a robust internal framework that can withstand external pressures.
So remember Ilara's journey, from crippling perfectionism to resilient leadership, all through the crucible of a crisis. Remember Mark, who turned a catastrophic system failure into an operational triumph, and Sophia, who transformed rejection into the fuel for her literary success. Their stories aren't about avoiding problems, but about how they chose to engage with them.
The question we posed at the beginning was, are you missing life's real lessons? Our hope is that after today's discussion, you'll start to see those lessons everywhere. In every frustration, every unexpected turn, every moment of discomfort. They are there, waiting to be discovered, waiting to transform you.
So, for this week, we have a challenge for you. Don't try to change everything at once. Just choose one thing. Think about a minor frustration or setback you're currently facing. Perhaps a missed deadline, a difficult conversation, or a small unexpected problem. Instead of reacting with immediate stress or annoyance, pause. For just 5 minutes, try to objectively analyze the situation. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? What can I learn from this? How can I respond constructively rather than react emotionally? Choose just one small thing and practice this mindful approach. See what shifts. Start today. Your growth is waiting.
Thank you for joining us on Stoic Vision. We'll be back next week with more insights into living a more intentional and resilient life. Until then, stay well and keep learning.